Armed citizens are rising up in Kenosha to defend businesses from rioters and looters as national gun ownership skyrockets. In this video, we're going to take a look at the latest efforts by law-abiding citizens to defend their neighborhoods against the destructive forces of BLM agitators. And we're going to see the astonishing rise in brand new first-time gun ownership that indicates nothing less than a massive backlash against the destructive forces of the far left. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone, patriots all across the globe. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you as always. If you are new to our channel, we analyze current events as some super awesome conservative trends so you can live in the present in light of even better things to come. We help you to think better so you can feel better. So if you haven't already done so, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. It'd be an absolute privilege to have you as a regular part of this channel where each and every day we together celebrate, yes, the inevitable collapse of left-wing globalism and the unstoppable rise of a new conservative age. Before we jump into things here, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that is Collagen, available at my special website, healthwithsteveturley.com. Now, if you don't know, collagen may be the closest thing we will ever get to what we're calling a real fountain of youth. Many health experts now agree that consuming collagen helps to renew and revitalize how you look and feel. Taking collagen regularly can revitalize your body, can make your skin, bones, and even your hair look and feel more healthy and youthful. I use it every day. I put it in my coffee in the morning, and it tastes awesome. And if you click on that link below today, you can get up to 51% off your order. So do not wait. Click on that link below today and get your own collagen supply. You will be glad that you did. All right, gang, let's dive in here. Now, once again, we're seeing a riot break out in the city, instigated by a police shooting of a black suspect. Once again, we're seeing looting and rampaging and destruction, demolition. And once again, we are seeing armed citizens, law-abiding citizens, rise up and defend their neighborhoods, their neighbors, their businesses, their livelihood from this collective violent mob that is today's Democrat Party. There have been a number of developments since our last video we did the other day, reporting on the latest rampage that's even now destroying another American city. First and foremost, we now know that the shooting victim, Jacob Blake, surprise, surprise, has a history of gun crime and had a warrant out for his arrest. In fact, it's being reported that Blake has a history of assaulting police officers and resisting arrest. The warrant for his arrest was issued on July the 7th. His past charges involved domestic abuse, sex crimes. It was reported earlier that Jacob Blake has in the past been charged with one felony count of resisting arrest, causing a soft tissue injury to a police officer. One misdemeanor count, each of carrying a concealed weapon, carrying a firearm while intoxicated, endangering safety, use of a dangerous weapon, disorderly conduct. We now know that Blake was indeed resisting arrest. Video shows him reaching into a car, completely disregarding the orders coming from the police officers behind him who had their guns drawn. It's still unclear on why the gun was drawn, but apparently he did assault the police officers. Blake can be seen reaching into a car as if he were reaching for something like a weapon, and that's when the police officers shot him. Now, of course, you are not going to get any of that from a Google search on Jacob Blake. All you're going to get are articles like this lovely piece of leftist Marxist propaganda from the Washington Post. We need Black Lives Matter. The police who shot Jacob Blake prove it. That's our mainstream Marxist media, right? These people are nothing more than left-wing activists disguised as journalists. And as we talked about in yesterday's video, the whole purpose of this Marxist rhetoric is to stoke more violence and discontent among urban populations to burn their own neighborhoods down. And they've been quite successful at that, haven't they? For a second night in a row, rioters and looters ravaged the city of Kenosha in Wisconsin, using this shooting and provoked by the cultural Marxist rhetoric of the mainstream media as an excuse to destroy and burn and demolish, and bizarrely destroy their own communities, their own cities, their own neighborhoods. That's in the end all that they're destroying. The red states, the populations in the exurbs, law-abiding conservative voters, they're all just sitting back and watching this and going, you guys on the left are nuts. I mean, it's pretty obvious that all this Marxism ultimately only ends up ruining lives and livelihoods. But what's so amazing here is that there are a whole host of law-abiding citizens, patriots, who are taking up arms and rising up to defend and protect their neighbors and their businesses and their livelihoods against this new wake of riotous destruction to plague this city. Now, the Washington Examiner is reporting that armed citizens are indeed mobilizing, holding rifles, wearing helmets and other protective gear to protect businesses in their neighborhoods. As one man put it, we are actually trying to stop these looters from destroying their own communities. It's being reported that armed defenders stepped in and stopped an attack on a car dealership, which I'm sure you've seen by now. One of the things these rioters have been doing is they're burning all these cars in car dealership parking lots. Now, sadly, I have to say, sadly, many of these armed citizens were on the side of the rioters. They hate the police as well, but they have drawn a line on burning down businesses, so at least it's a start. These armed citizens are being bolstered by the deployment of the Wisconsin National Guard. Troops are deployed to assist local law enforcement with the rioters and looters. So while some of these armed citizens may be saying that they're against law enforcement, you could be sure that they are not turning down help from the National Guard to protect these local businesses, which again shows that we are seeing a burgeoning alliance growing between law-abiding armed citizens and law enforcement, which is crushing these rioters and looters in the far left. Moreover, we're seeing armed residents actually defending their own homes. In a Milwaukee suburb, a homeowner was not tolerating Black Lives Matter protesters for a second coming into his neighborhood. He brandished a gun and apparently fired some warning shots at the BLM agitators that tried to come into his neighborhood. And this is a pattern that we've been seeing over and over again. Whenever these rioters and agitators and looters try to leave their imploding cities and enter into suburbs, they're getting chased out by armed citizens. And if the latest trends on gun ownership are any indicator, this is all just beginning. Look at this. There are now nearly 5 million first-time gun buyers thus far in 2020. The National Instant Criminal Background Check System database from January of this year all the way through July has found that, get this, over 12 million background checks were conducted for firearm purchases, 40% of which were first-time background checks, making up nearly 5 million brand new first-time gun owners. Can I ask you a question? How many of these first-time gun owners do you think plan on voting for the Democrats, who are the ones who are actually promising to take away those guns? I mean, one commentator said it all. This is a tectonic shift in the firearm and ammunition industry marketplace and complete transformation of today's gun-owning community. These first-time buyers represent a group of people who until now were agnostic regarding firearm ownership, but no more. Now, we've been tracking with this for the last couple of months, but obviously the vast majority of this new gun ownership has occurred in the last couple of months. It started with the whole coronavirus lockdown, but then it kicked into massively high gear with these insane race riots. The left-wing activists, disguised as journalists in our mainstream Marxist media, have been fanning and encouraging and celebrating. The surge in gun sales have been going on for at least the last 3 months. More than 2 million guns were sold in the month of June alone. That represents nothing less than a 145% spike in gun sales. Gun sales soared 80% in May as a result of the race riots and government lockdowns. Small Arms Analytics and Forecasting, which is a private research firm, estimated that more than 1.7 million guns were sold in May, representing an 80% jump from the same time last year in 2019. And that surge came on the heels of a 70% surge in April. All told, nearly 3.5 million guns were purchased over the course of just 60 days. And now we can see why. With these riots and the dithering and purposely incompetent response of city mayors and state governors and the cheerleading in the mainstream Marxist media, we could see precisely why we have a Second Amendment here in this nation. It's not simply to protect us from tyrannical government. No, as it turns out, it's to protect us from the civil unrest that can easily spiral out of control when law enforcement is thrown under the bus by these feckless Democrats. The reason why we the Second Amendment right now is to protect us from the moronic Marxist officials that are fostering mass civil unrest. And so as it turns out, we now need the Second Amendment to protect us from the insanity of liberals themselves. So whenever a lunatic left-wing nut asks you, why do you need a gun? I mean, come on. Because I'm looking at the reason. Precisely because of you. You're the reason why we need to arm ourselves. As you defund and disband the police, as you side with looters and arsonists, as you lecture us about how calling the police is some kind of white privilege when we feel threatened, that's all the justification we need to arm ourselves, period. So make no mistake, there really is a mass uprising against BLM and Antifa and the far left. And this rise in armed citizens and this surge in gun sales knows no end at this point. The rising up of law-abiding America against the forces of leftist insanity is indeed happening. And given the trends, we can accurately say the uprising is just beginning. Now, before we go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. And you'll definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on the Proud Boys crushing a bunch of Antifa soy boys in Portland as law enforcement has begun to side with the rising force of patriots across the nation. You're going to absolutely love it. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.